Good evening and welcome to Tuesday, January 20th, 2026 City Council meeting. Our invocation will be provided by Jessica Bedola. Please stand for the invocation and then please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Bless our city, bless our neighborhoods, bless our community. But God, I would ask a special favor tonight. I would ask that every leader in this room open their heart and think about the public servants that serve this city. We pray these things through Jesus the Christ, and so it is. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Fears.
Here.
Councilmember Perkins.
Here.
Councilmember Stewart.
Here.
Councilmember McCandless.
Here.
Councilmember Wiley.
Here.
Councilmember Vaught.
Here.
Mayor Rowland.
Here. And I don't believe we have any proclamations for tonight. No proclamations. Okay. So we're going right to citizens' request. The first one is Christopher Fielding. So Christopher, come on up. You've got 5 minutes. And please state your name and address, please.
Christopher Fielding, address 1121 Truman Road. Good evening, Mayor and members of the Council. My name is Christopher Fielding, representing Fivefold Legacy, and we are here to discuss the $6.6 billion Nebulous Data Center project. While this project brings infrastructure, the City of Independence currently occupies a passive host position, collecting standard utility fees while bearing 100% of the grid destabilization risk. Our message is clear. It's time for Independence to pivot from a passive host to an active digital landlord. We are proposing a framework that treats municipal data not as a public record to be given away, but a productized intellectual property. Under the authority of the Missouri Law 67-.1850, the city has the power to license its digital infrastructure. Our digital landlord protocol establishes a high-speed enterprise tier service stack that these tech companies need to operate safely, including a high-frequency grid intelligence, a 3D subsurface digital twin, and a compute dividend, a mandatory barter of energy proprietary for municipal service space. The civic yield, this is not just about tech, it is about the civic yield. Our framework mandates that a significant portion of this licensing fee flow directly into the community benefit pool for local schools and housing stability. We have submitted a preparatory notice and technical white paper to the city clerk's office today. And we're asking the council to schedule a formal review of this framework within the next 14 days to ensure that the big tech profits from our grid, the resident of Independence, are the primary beneficiaries. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Laura Dominic. Laura, come on up and please state your name and
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Laura Dominic, excuse me, that's my business, not my address. 3525 Blue Ridge Boulevard. I've spoken many times over the years here in front of the council, but I feel tonight more passionate about the topic I'm speaking on than any topic I've truly ever spoken on before. As you've no doubt seen in the news, DHS recently set their sights on a $7,500 bed mass incarceration facility for ICE detentions in South Kansas City. When word of that reached Mayor Quentin Lucas's office, he and the Kansas City City Council moved swiftly to draft and pass an ordinance establishing a 5-year moratorium on permits, licenses, and other approvals for non-municipal incarceration facilities. I believe we are at an inflection point in our country where the morality of our decisions must weigh even more heavily on our decisions, both individually and collectively, than ever before. Robert Reich recently posted that the time is now for each of us to reach out to those in our circles of influence to let our voices be heard. So I'm here tonight to ask the City Council pursue a similar ordinance. As Harry Truman said, I never sit on a fence. I'm either on one side or another. I hope that independents will choose a side and that choice will be to approve such an ordinance to maintain our self-proclaimed status as a great American city. Finally, I want to say, given the crimes against humanity we are seeing in Minneapolis, I hope each and every one of us is thinking of our former city manager, Zach Walker, a huge asset to our city who's now serving in Bloomington, Minnesota, just 10 miles from Minneapolis. Zach, if you happen to see this, Godspeed to you and Lauren. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Becky Hake. And Becky, you have 5 minutes, and please state your name and address, please.
Becky Hake, 10516 East 26th Terrace, Independence, Missouri. Good evening. I wore my taller shoes. You can hear me. I'm here tonight to talk about the Marketplace SID. It's on the information section. Is their SID balance sheet or budget for the year? As I looked it over, I was kind of confused because $22,500 of it, almost half their budget, is going to pay for the Marketplace TIF. And that's where they're putting the majority of their budget at. And I'm thinking, why do we have a SID paying for the TIF? So I looked at the TIF. This TIF, the last time the TIF any paperwork was filed on it with the state was in 2023. And at that point in time, it looked to be about $447,000 has been spent on this TIF. And that's since inception. It was approximately about $6,000 for that year. And in TIFs and EATs and pilots, we've collected over $1.5 million. And that was in 2023. There's been no filings since then. And I thought, well, is it still in effect? I can't find anywhere where it's been retired. There's been no paperwork with the state that it's been retired. And if you put in what the SID's been paying for 7 years, I mean, you're a good $1 million ahead on this one. I think I would ask that it would be retired. But the main reason I'm going to ask that you consider retiring it is on December 29th of 23, the developer, who the SID was to be paid back to, articles of cancellation with the state of Missouri were filed. He canceled his company. So I'm not sure since 23 where any of this money is gone. It's kind of a question I'd like to have an answer to. And also, when I was looking for the SID, we don't have a single landlord up there that owns property that's renting and it's licensed. We have 5 businesses not licensed and 2 in referral. One of them's a restaurant. Don't know if they're getting their inspections. And anyway, it's kind of my thoughts on that one, and I'd like some, hear some answers, or at least look into retiring the SID. I think it's past due. Thank you.
Thank you. For this next one, can I have a motion to allow a non-resident to speak, please?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second to allow a non-resident to speak. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Fears?
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins?
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart?
Yes.
Councilmember McCandless?
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley?
Yes.
Councilmember Vought?
Yes.
Mayor Rowland?
Yes. And the motion carries 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Michael Veet, come forward and then please state your name and address. And since you're speaking on behalf of a group, you'll have 10 minutes for your presentation.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Michael Veet, 1119 Northwest Aspen Court, Green Valley, Missouri. Tonight I'm speaking in front of you on behalf of the IFF Local 781 Firefighters of Independence. And on January 5th, I sent a letter to the City Council regarding our ongoing contract negotiations. Tonight I'd like to read that letter so that the citizens and the firefighters are aware of what that letter stated and what went to Council. Mayor and members of the City Council, I'm writing on behalf of the Independence Professional Firefighters IAF Local 781 to formally express our deep concern and growing frustration regarding the current status of negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement. The city's continued delay and lack of meaningful negotiations is both disrespectful and unacceptable. Our firefighters have approached this process in good faith, yet those efforts have not been met with the same level of seriousness or respect from city leadership. Local 781 sent our letter of intent to negotiate on December 18th, 2024, after which the city manager entered into good faith negotiations. During this time, Local 781 and Fire Administration engaged in non-monetary issues, completing those talks at the beginning of February of 2025. These discussions addressed several areas of concern from the city, including overtime, unscheduled leave usage, and improvements to the promotional process, which allows members to advance their careers and fill vacancies within the department. Following the conclusion of those discussions, Local 781 was dismissed and did not hear anything back from the city despite numerous attempts to re-engage. In August 2025, Local 781 and our legal counsel sent formal correspondence notifying the city of a potential lawsuit, at which point negotiations resumed. A failure to negotiate in a timely and productive manner undermines not only labor relations, but also the stability of the fire department as a whole. These ongoing delays have consequences far beyond the bargaining table. Independence firefighters have taken an oath to protect the citizens of this community, often at significant personal risk. Prolonged negotiations negatively impact firefighter morale, recruitment, retention, and ultimately jeopardize public safety. Continued inaction threatens the department's ability to maintain adequate staffing levels and provide the level of emergency response our citizens expect and deserve. Despite their unwavering commitment to this community, many firefighters are being forced to make difficult decisions to leave Independence for departments that have placed a higher priority on public safety and recognize the value of highly skilled, highly trained first responders. This loss of experience and institutional knowledge weakens the department and diminishes the city's emergency response capabilities. Independence firefighters are deeply committed to the citizens we serve, both on and off the job. Our members routinely give back through charitable contributions, community service, and outreach efforts. The residents of Independence consistently demonstrate their respect and appreciation for their firefighters. It would be encouraging to see the same level of respect by city leadership. Local 781 stands to immediately resume meaningful negotiations in order to preserve the level of emergency response the citizens of Independence deserve. However, if negotiations continue to stall, we believe that the public has a right to know that their fire department is being diminished and that their safety is being placed at risk. Please feel free to reach out to me if anyone would like to discuss this with me directly. I'm available at any time to discuss these issues in more detail. We urge you to take this matter seriously and prioritize public safety by returning to the bargaining table without further delay. So that ends the letter that was sent to City Council members and the mayor on January 5th. I would like to say that after this letter was sent, that there was meaningful conversation with the city to come back to the table, and contract negotiations have continued back and forth to this point. So with that, we are starting to make some progress. Hopefully there's an end in sight in the horizon. To the council members and the mayor that reached out to me to have further conversation on this, thank you directly. I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate the conversation. Some of those conversations were a little bit harder than others, but sometimes it's just the education piece that we go through to understand how we get to where we're going to get to. So tonight my message changes a little bit from what I had written previously. That we still have an issue within the City of Independence, and that's recruitment and retention. Currently, out of the 170 firefighters that we have on staff with the Independence Fire Department, I have approximately 20 members that are considering leaving the City of Independence to go work for other departments. These are not new firefighters. These are not our new recruits that have just been hired. Well, some of them are. But these are our senior firefighters, our firefighters that have been here for a while, that have the institutional knowledge of what this city is and what we need to protect this city. I'm going to throw a statistic at you. 20 individuals, 20 citizens last year were saved by the men and women wearing these yellow fire shirts sitting behind you. They did that because of the institutional knowledge they have, because they're willing to lay their lives on the line for this city. They're willing to lay their lives on the lines for citizens that they've never met before. It's because that's who we are and what we do. Some people may think that we're going to stand up here and talk and this is all about greed, that we need to be paid more. That's a small piece of it, but I promise you we're not being greedy. I just need a fair and livable wage. It's hard when I have a young firefighter that calls me, and I have 5 of these members right now that are receiving state assistance while they work a full-time job for this city. What am I supposed to tell them? What am I supposed to tell them when they're trying to support their newborn baby, or what they're going to do when their paychecks are short? When they're trying to figure out how they're going to put food on the table for their family, and that they're living paycheck to paycheck. Or when one of my members calls and says, hey, can I put you down as a reference because I have to find a 3rd job to support my family. They're not living outside of their means. They just don't make that much. So that's what we're asking for. We're asking for a fair and livable wage to where your Independence firefighters can feel comfortable with what they do and be supported by the city. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I know that we've heard this for the last 10 years that I've sat in these chambers and heard that the budget's tight. The budget's tight. We've got to do something. We've got to do something. Yeah, we do. We have got to do something because you're going to lose your firefighters if you don't. I don't have all the answers, but I know that at this point, a sales tax is probably not going to get anything done because of what's going on outside of our control. That's outside of our control that there's nothing, frankly, we can do about it. But when I have firefighters that are coming up to me and asking for references to go work for other jurisdictions, that's a problem. When I got hired to this department 16 years ago, they hired 3 individuals at that time. There were 250 applicants. We just went through a hiring process, and I think we had about 20 applicants for 8 spots. 3 of those individuals that were offered jobs turned them down. That used to never happen at Independence. You used to be able to get on at Independence Fire Department, to be part of this brother and sisterhood. You had to go work someplace else for 3 to 5 years to get that institutional knowledge, to be able to keep up with these men and women that are willing to go hanging out there every day for these citizens. I'm not asking to be the top paid fire department in the Kansas City metro area. That brings a whole other side of problems that I don't think anybody wants to face. What I'm asking for is a livable wage. Something that I can be compensated fairly for what my men and women are doing day in and day out. When those bells go off at 3:40 in the morning on a Saturday morning and they risk life and limb to go put a basement fire out, and knowing that all the civilians are out of there, but they still go in and rescue somebody's cat. That's what these men and women are doing. This weekend, when it's negative 20 for a wind chill, guess where they're going to be at? They're going to be on those trucks. They're going to answer those 911 calls for this city and these citizens. That's what they're going to do.
You have 1 minute, sir.
Thank you. In closing, I'd like to thank the members and the retirees of Local 781 for their attendance, as well as the members who are watching in all the stations across the city tonight. Keep doing a great job. Your efforts have not gone unnoticed. To the citizens of Independence, thank you for your continued support. Your support means more to us than any award or medal we will ever receive. The members of Local 781 took an oath to protect and serve this city. No matter what goes on in City Hall, when the tones go off, we will race to the trucks. Just know that the men and women of local, when the tones go off and we race to the trucks, just know that the men and women of Local 781 and the Independence Fire Department will put everything they have on the line for you. Thank you.
Thank you. This brings us to the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Please proceed.
I move for approval of the reports or recommendations of the city manager.
Thank you.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second for approval of the reports and recommendations of the city manager. Do we have any items that would like to be pulled for separate consideration? Anyone have any items for separate consideration? Going once, going twice. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll for the consent agenda.
Councilmember Fears,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart,
Yes.
Councilmember McCandless.
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley.
Yes.
Councilmember Vaught.
Yes.
Mayor Rowland.
Yes. And the consent agenda passes 7 in favor, 0 opposed. That brings us to our regular agenda. And Madam City Clerk, please proceed with 26001.
26-001, second reading, an ordinance authorizing final disposition of certain city records that have met all requirements to be eligible for such disposition. Second reading.
Thank you. Any discussion on 26001? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Fears.
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins.
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart.
Yes.
Councilmember McCandless.
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley.
Yes.
Councilmember Vaught.
Yes.
Mayor Rowland.
Yes. And 26001 passes 7 in favor, 0 opposed. This brings us to 26002. Madam City Clerk, please proceed.
26-002, second reading, an ordinance authorizing the interim city manager to execute on behalf of the City of Independence the firm and/or deliverable capacity agreement with Next Era Energy Marketing LLC, providing for the 12-month purchase of a projected total of 57.8 megawatts summer season and 70.3 megawatts winter season of Southwest Power Pool accredited capacity sourced, payable on a monthly basis with an estimated total of $5,467,000 in accordance with the master agreement, second reading.
Thank you. Any discussion on 26002? Please proceed.
Mr. Mayor. Madam City Manager, the next, this one and the next three all are connected. And I just thought, given the dollar amount that we're talking about here on these, it'd be helpful to just ask you to give some general information in terms of what these agreements do and why we're doing that.
Happy to. So these are all capacity agreements. 2 of them are with NextEra and 2 of them are with Evergy, and they are to provide capacity for the time between the new generation being in production at Blue Valley and when we are committed per our agreements with Nebius to provide them with capacity. we are on the hook to provide capacity starting in June. The plant is expected to be online in October of 27. So this bridges the gap of June of 26 to October of 27. And these are broken out into different time periods, and basically the Evergy contracts are broken out into their different types of resources. So part of it's from a wind farm and part of it's from thermal resources, and the NextEra contract is covering from 26 into 27. So several questions have come up. Just, does this have an impact on the rates? Is this covered? These are already covered by the PPA and the ESAs that council has already approved, and we have in place. So there's no impact to our ratepayers for these. Again, the cost is, there's an off-taker, as we've said in the meetings for this already. This is just following through on the commitments that we have to provide that capacity prior to the plant coming online.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Please proceed.
These are a little complicated, so I just want to ask some simplifying questions. The city is not making a loan for any of these. We're not actually the final purchaser of these. These are pass-through contracts, correct?
Correct.
And what is the guarantee should we not have an off-taker? What happens to these?
So the same as in the electric service agreements and the purchase power agreements, there are off-ramps. If the off-taker were to go away, then we have the right to, we have off-ramps to stop the capacity build out at certain junctures. So we would have that option here. And just to go back one more question, we're not loaning anything on these. They're not, we have someone that's purchasing and covering the cost of this. Yes, we are still fronting the money for these, and then it's made up later. So just to clarify. But yeah, we have the requirement to have this capacity. Again, if the off-taker were to go away, we have off-ramps to get out of that. But if we were to not provide this, we would be paying penalties to SPP at a much higher rate than these contracts allow.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anyone else have further discussions on 26002? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll on 26002.
Councilmember Fierce.
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins.
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart.
Yes.
Councilmember McCandless.
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley.
Yes.
Councilmember Vaught.
Yes.
Mayor Rowland.
Yes. 26002 passes 7 in favor, 0 opposed. That brings us to 26003. Madam City Clerk, please proceed.
26-003, second reading. An ordinance authorizing the interim city manager to execute on behalf of the City of Independence the deliverable capacity agreement with NextEra Energy Marketing, LLC, providing for the 4-month purchase of a projected total of 100 megawatts summer season Southwest Power Pool accredited capacity sourced, payable on a monthly basis with an estimated total of $5,200,000 in accordance with the master agreement, second reading.
Any further discussion on 26003? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Fierce.
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins.
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart.
Yes.
Councilmember McCandless.
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley.
Yes.
Councilmember Vaught.
Yes.
Mayor Rowland.
Yes. 26003 passes 7 in favor, 0 opposed. It brings us to 26004. Madam City Clerk, please proceed.
26-004, second reading, an ordinance authorizing the interim city manager to execute on behalf of the City of Independence the firm and/or deliverable capacity agreement with Evergy Kansas Central, Inc., providing for the 6-month purchase of a projected total of 73 megawatts of Southwest Power Pool accredited summer season capacity sourced, payable on a monthly basis with an estimated total of $3,723,000 in accordance with the master agreement, second reading.
Any further discussion on 26004? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Fears.
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins.
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart.
Yes.
Councilmember McCandless.
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley.
Yes.
Councilmember Vaught.
Yes.
Mayor Rowland.
Yes. 26004 passes 7 in favor, 0 opposed. This brings us to 26005. Madam City Clerk, please proceed.
26-005, second reading, an ordinance authorizing the interim city manager to execute on behalf of the City of Independence the deliverable capacity agreement with Evergy Kansas Central, Inc., providing for the sixth-month purchase of a projected total of 37 megawatts summer season of Southwest Power Pool accredited capacity sourced, payable on a monthly basis with an estimated total of $1,887,000 in accordance with the master agreement, second reading.
Any discussion on 26005? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Fears.
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins.
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart.
Yes.
Councilmember McCandless.
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley.
Yes.
Councilmember Vaught.
Yes.
Mayor Rowland.
Yes. 26005 passes 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Brings us to 26006. Madam City Clerk, please proceed.
26-006, second reading, an ordinance amending City Code Section 12.02.002 regarding controlled substances to regulate the consumption of recreational marijuana in public places, second reading.
Any discussion on 26006? Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've provided a substitute for the council with an amendment to the language. What it will do is modify the language so that it states only the smoking or vaping of marijuana in public places shall be unlawful. And secondly, that a person who smokes or vapes marijuana in a public place in violation of this subsection is subject to a fine not exceeding $100. And may I inquire of Mr. Cover?
Please proceed.
Mr. Cover, just making sure that this is consistent with the constitutional amendment for the state of Missouri and with Missouri state statute.
Yes, ma'am. These provisions are consistent with state law. The only significant difference is the change we're making on consumption. We're actually narrowing it down a little bit more. The state law uses the word consumption. I now understand that there are a number of ways to consume that don't necessarily have the same impact as smoking and vaping, and so based on the feedback we received, we have narrowed that. But yes, these are provisions are consistent with state law.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I submit this amendment for consideration.
Thank you. Any discussion on the amendment?
Second.
I'll second the amendment.
Thank you very much. We've got a motion and a second for the amendment. Any discussion on the amendment? Mr. Cover, if I can ask a couple of questions about it.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, if people possess marijuana in excess of the state limit, our police department still has the authority to arrest them for that. This just prohibits the use of smoking it or vaping it in public.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but all of the other provisions remain the same.
Correct.
Okay, just wanted to verify that and clarify it for everybody that's listening. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else, further discussion on the amendment? Seeing no further discussion on the amendment, we'll take the roll for the approval of the amendment.
Councilmember Fears.
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins.
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart.
Yes.
Councilmember McCandless.
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley.
Yes.
Councilmember Vaught.
Yes.
Mayor Rowland.
Yes. And the amendment as proposed is passed in favor, 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Councilmember McCandless, I'll continue to give you the floor if you have anything else to say on it.
I do not. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Any other further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll on 26006 as amended.
Councilmember Fears.
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins.
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart.
Yes.
Councilmember McCandless.
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley.
Yes.
Councilmember Vaught.
Yes.
Mayor Rowland.
Yes. And 26006 passes 7 in favor, 0 opposed. And that brings us to our first readings. Madam City Clerk, please proceed.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Please proceed.
Thank you. I'm going to make the motion to move this into an emergency ordinance, if you don't mind. Once I make the motion and we move move on that, then I'll let our interim city manager explain the reasoning behind that.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to move this item in emergency ordinance as contractor pricing is set to expire prior to February 4th, 2026. This ordinance requires an emergency second reading immediately following the first reading to appropriate funding for the project as described above. That is the
Very
motion.
good. That's the motion. Do we have a second?
Yes.
We've got a motion and a second. Councilmember Perkins, any other further discussion for the emergency?
I will ask the interim city manager to explain why this is an emergency ordinance.
Thank you. This was originally entered in as a consent agenda item, as most of the construction contracts have come before you have been. The difference with this is that while we did receive revenue bonds to fund these projects, this is the first one to come before you, so that money hasn't been appropriated to this point. So to appropriate money to a project that wasn't part of the budget or the CIP to appropriate money requires the approval of council. Therefore, this is coming for you tonight as an emergency. And we're asking for the emergency reading because delays, the pricing from the contractors and all the subs will expire prior to when this would be read a second time. That would put us at great risk for increasing the cost. And then there are things written into the contract that allow for additional cost to the general contractor, the construction manager, if there are project delays. So we're just trying to avoid adding cost to the project. And just for note, since we're appropriating the full amount of the revenue bonds at this time, future fire stations that come to you will go back to the cycle of being part of the consent agenda. They will not require an ordinance going forward.
Thank you. Anything else?
Now let's vote on the amendment.
Okay. Anyone else? Further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll on the emergency.
I need to read it first.
Okay, please proceed.
26-007, first reading. An ordinance adopting amendments to the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget, which was approved by ordinance number 19682, and authorizing the interim city manager to execute change order number 1 in the amount of $14,365,742 with Turner Construction Company, and authorizing future change orders of up to 10% of the authorized amount. First reading.
Thank you. Yeah, hold on. We've got a motion and a second. We need to vote on this first before we take to the second reading. Okay. Any discussion on the emergency before we vote on it? Okay. Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll on the emergency clause. Am I doing that in the correct order, Mr. Cover?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Councilmember Fierce?
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins?
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart?
Yes.
Councilmember McCandless?
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley?
Yes.
Councilmember Vaught?
Yes.
Mayor Rowland?
Yes. And 26007 will be considered emergency. It's been approved, 7 in favor, 0 opposed. So now 26007 is an emergency, and we will now proceed with the second reading.
26-007, second reading, an ordinance adopting amendments to the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget, which was approved by ordinance number 19682, and authorizing the interim city manager to execute change order number 1 in the amount of $14,365,742 with Turner Construction Company, and authorizing future change orders of up to 10% of the authorized amount. Second reading.
Thank you. Any discussion on 26007, second reading?
Mr. Mayor.
Please proceed.
Thank you. Last week at the study session, we had a good study session on two important things. One was NIVIAs and the other one was our municipal facilities. And within that was our fire stations that are moving forward. The one that we are voting on is for fire station number 8, which is fire station number 8 in the training facilities. So first of all, thank you to the local members of 781 for being here tonight and supporting this and also supporting your union president. I think it's also important to note that the amount of money that we are going to be using and allocating for these projects is really outstanding. So Section 1, increase appropriation in the amount of $42,703,612.38 payable from bond proceeds in the Fire Improvements Fund, Fire Department Fire Station projects. So specifically, we're authorizing the city manager to execute order number 1 in the amount of $14,365,742, and that's with the Turner Construction Company for a new total of $18,677,000 for Fire Station 8 in the training facility. So I just want to make the point that we are working hard to do what we can to give you guys the equipment and the facilities and stuff you need. $42 million is quite a bit, so we got a long ways to go. We got a lot of aging stations, so we're trying to kick this out just a little bit at a time. So just want to make that a point, Mr. Mayor, and kick it back to you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Excuse me. Seeing no further discussion, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll on 26007, second reading.
Councilmember Fears.
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins.
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart.
Yes.
Councilmember McCandless.
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley.
Yes.
Councilmember Vaught.
Yes.
Mayor Rowland.
Yes. 26007 passes 7 in favor, 0 opposed as an emergency. That will then take us to Councilmember comments. Councilmember Fears, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's been a busy time last week. Most of you would remember that we spent some time last Monday night talking about Nebius as a potential data center. Had a number of really good comments. I've had a lot of communication from people in the last week asking questions and, trying to get additional information out there among the citizens to understand exactly what is being proposed and the impact it would have on our community. One of the things that I had probably the most questions about was noise. And so we've done some work on that. We haven't reached a final conclusion on that, but I think we do have some information that I'd like to share tonight that might be helpful to the community. And so we inquired of Assistant City Manager Charlie DeSelle is working on this he's a kind of the city's primary lead on this. And so we asked about that regarding the noise, and he said that and if you recall, there's a 85 decibel figure that is provided. And so that 85 decibel figure is a preliminary number, and Nebius anticipates the actual level will be lower than that. The measurement reflects the noise at the property line. And with that, levels would be higher near the buildings on the property and lower across Little Blue Valley or Little Blue Parkway, Article 10 of Chapter 7 regulates sound emissions based on the receiving land use. And what this means is that we do not regulate the sound that can be heard at the site. We regulate the sound when it is heard by the nearest neighboring residential or commercial land use. So our code requires that at a residential land use, the nearest one would be between 8 and 10 p.m. It would be, the maximum would be 60 decibels. From 10 p.m. to 8 a.m., it would be 50 decibels. And on commercial settings, it would be 62 decibels at all times. So, for example, even if the property line reading is at 85 decibels, that's not necessarily against the code. However, when that sound gets to the nearest residential property, it must be at or below 50 decibels at night and 60 decibels during the day. Our code states that enforcement falls under the Director of Health, and measurements must be taken with a sound level meter per the manufacturer's instructions. And we're confirming that whether the health department and the police department have that equipment. Assuming that they do, this would be a fairly simple measure to conduct those audits on a regular basis. And so I just want to share that information. I think that's important for the community to have that. Noise is probably the primary question I got, although I did get a number of other questions. I think other council members may have other things that they want to talk about relative to that tonight. but I did want to talk about that and the data center. I think that's helpful information. There will be more information coming. They stated last week that the information that they were providing was very preliminary in nature, and we will be getting more details as time goes along. So I do want to mention that. And the other thing I just wanted to mention in council member comments is that yesterday was Martin Luther King Day. We had a good celebration for that at the Truman Memorial Building yesterday afternoon. Thought it was a really fine celebration, and just wanted to call out the folks that were involved in that. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Stewart, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had a question for Mr. Cover.
Please proceed.
So back, I don't know, it was sometime in late December, I had sent you a question about the gaming machines that Mayor Rowland had brought up previously, and I had referenced an article that was in the Independent Examiner that talked about how the Jackson County Legislature had passed an ordinance that were actually regulating the machines. They listed a bunch of stuff in there, and then recently, so I saw another article that Kansas City is now doing stings on businesses that have these gaming machines. So when we originally brought this up, we were kind of discouraged not to pass something. But has something changed between then and now?
Well, there's still litigation that's pending on these, which is why we have been reluctant to move forward, because we didn't want to, invite ourselves into a lawsuit. So, I mean, there has been, I believe, some further guidance, which has obviously allowed some jurisdictions to move forward. So if this is something that you want to revisit, we can certainly do that and figure out what all the pros and cons are and present that, if that's, okay. if you'd like to pick that back up again.
Well, I don't know about the rest of the council, but it is something I would like to revisit.
Okay. So. We'll get you information on that.
Okay, thank you. And then the second question is for the acting city manager. So Nebius was brought up. I have stated at least privately to you a couple of times, and then I think publicly once, about I would like to see, another type, like a town hall with Nebius involved. Does any more conversation happen on that?
We can schedule those. Yes, conversation continues to happen. I've talked to the PUAB about hosting. We've had discussions with the chamber about hosting, just from different facets. I know some members of council are talking about hosting their own forums. With the people that are coming over, we wouldn't be reaching out to the people that were coming over from overseas necessarily, but having some local representation is something that we're trying to do. Just a lot of schedules to align and trying to make sure we have more answers as we go into those. But if you have, yes, short answer to your question, yes, we're actively working on trying to get those scheduled.
So when does the Chapter 100 bonds come up for the first reading?
The first reading will come to you the second meeting in February, and the second reading the first, I believe it's March 2nd.
Okay, so just so I'm clear on what I would like to see, obviously, one person, but, city staff's there, people from Nebius are there, and the citizens can actually come in at a microphone, ask questions, and everybody gets the same answer. I think that's the only way. I mean, I can respond to 100 emails, but that's what I would like to see. When Wally's wanted to come into town, they did that. I don't see any reason Nebius shouldn't want to either.
Again, Nebius staff versus their subs is a different thing, and coordinating.
Well, somebody who can give answers.
Overseas travel, a little bit different, but yes, we're looking at some of the local counterparts with them to be able to answer some of those questions.
Okay. And one other thing, Mr. Cover, that marijuana ordinance, when will that go in effect?
It will go into effect 10 days or 11 days from today.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Vaught, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to give an update on Wally's. I've had a couple of emails of people asking questions, so I just kind of want to fill you in on what's going on. So as of now, the only permit that has been submitted so far is The demo permit for the Old Northern Tool Building, which was applied for on December 31st and issued last Friday. Their current plan is to hold a groundbreaking in early April with an estimated 14 to 16-month build and a targeted opening in summer of 2027. The only remaining hurdle right now is completing a few right-of-way acquisitions, but otherwise the project is moving forward and staying on track. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Wiley, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. I have also been having conversations, emailing, phone calls with constituents regarding the data center. There are still some outstanding questions that I have, and just to be clear, city staff is actively working through some issues still. One of the questions I've gotten is about decommissioning. In other words, what happens if the data center stops operating? So I do have an answer to that. Decommissioning requirements are already built into the Chapter 100 lease agreements. There is a section that deals specifically with data center related concerns. If the data center operations cease for more than a year, the company is required to remove data center specific infrastructure, such as cooling systems, and restore those areas to a greenfield condition. If the company fails to do that, the city has the authority to complete the decommissioning itself or hire a third party to do so at the company's expense. So that is a one question I had that I was able to get some answers to. And then I also wanted to let everyone know that also the Chapter 100 lease requires Nebius to comply with all applicable environmental laws. This includes all major federal statutes and any other federal, state, or local laws, ordinances, regulations, or standards related to hazardous materials and environmental protections. This requirement is not limited to today's laws. The lease also applies to any environmental laws that may be enacted in the future. So those are two answers that I got. More will come. I want to thank my constituents who have reached out and asked questions, which I'm always happy to answer. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember McCandless, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. So if you don't spend your life thinking about hearing, then decibels don't necessarily mean anything to you. I think it's helpful just to get a little bit of reference for things that you're familiar with. We've been talking about 85 decibels, but then it falls off to 70, 50, etc. So 70 is the sound of your dishwasher or the sound of a shower. 50 decibels is the background noise of your refrigerator. 30 decibels is a whisper. So these are from Purdue and their Department of Engineering, so just to have some reference range. Now, 85 decibels is the sound of your kitchen blender or the sound of a busy street. So just, it's hard to sometimes get a sense of what these are and how fast they fall off with distance. I appreciate staff getting so many answers to our questions. I've been able to respond to, I think, everybody who has sent me questions about the data center. I really have been impressed by the quality of the questions, by people asking questions and giving solutions and asking for particular things like noise monitoring or soil sampling or runoff information. So just tremendously good questions, so I appreciate that. Changing channels here, city manager update. We continue to do our work on attracting our next city manager. We were brought 36 candidates for that, and the council met this morning. We have narrowed it down to 7 for our first screening interviews, and that will happen next week. All council members will be involved in that. My last item here is a follow-up on Ms. Hake's concern, just giving that back to city staff. Can we get some information about SID and TIF?
We can, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember McCandless. Councilmember Perkins, the floor is yours.
Well, nothing tonight, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And Everyone's covered everything I was going to talk about, so Madam Interim City Manager, the floor is yours before we adjourn this meeting.
Nothing this evening. Thank you.
Well, that is simple then. We will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you all.